All right, good afternoon. Today I'm going to run through the underwriting using DealCheck. If you're in the portal, if you've gotten to the section of underwriting here, it's there's going to be a few tutorials here. I don't want to rush through this one, but I do want to get through this relatively quickly just so that you can understand that these deals can be analyzed fast. I did go through another one that had cash on cash, internal rate of return. It was a little higher level of training. So I wanted to just bring this down into a more basic format, and DealCheck's probably the best way to start. So if you're in here, just go to the underwriting section, hit on the DealCheck. If you don't have your own templates, you can download it free. Just hit the download free software and it'll take you here. Just create your account. Again, it's free, but there are, of course, paid options if you want to get fancy. But let's just dive in. I'm going to today, though, go over just to back up real quick. Once you have gone on the first, second appointment and you've obtained the books and records, which are rent rolls and a profit and loss statement, which are the two. There's plenty of documents we will request, but the two to just get started and get a basic understanding of the property and then evaluation, which is what you want to do. The seller wants to know just the last 12 months of income and expenses. So if you're doing an apartment, it'll be the income will just be all of the rent and utility, and the expenses, which is every expense that would come out from that property, from taxes to insurance to repairs and maintenance. And we're going to go line item to line item. But again, this is coming after you go to the first appointment, meet them and understand what's going on there. And then you request the what we refer to the books and records. So assuming you have done that, you're ready to start. And let me just pop this open real quick. This is a profit and loss statement. This is from 2020, so this isn't necessarily a trailing 12. A trailing 12 is, you might hear a T12, and trailing 12 is exactly what it sounds for, the trailing 12 months of income, right? So we're at October. This would be if you're doing one in real time right now, it would be from last October 2020 to October 2021. That would be the most recent information. This is going back from 2020. Eventually, you'll want to get the last 3 years of this just to see consistent income and expenses. Make sure they're not anything else going on. So this is what a clean profit and loss. I've gotten these on napkins, 8x5 cards. It's just crazy over the phone. Then they don't know, they don't keep track. So you're not always going to get a nice clean, this could have been a QuickBooks or Rent Manager or Appfolio, but this is a more sophisticated apartment owner. So he's got nice books to show, but so we're going to go off that. So if you're in here, these were the line items, right? Bank service charges, are there business licenses, landscaping, property manager fee, office supplies, pest control, professional fees. It could be legal. Like we have a lot of legal fees right now with some of the evictions and just weeding out some tenants. So that's usually a line item you see. And once you do this more and more, you'll understand what is missing, right? I've had sellers give me what they think is all the expenses and then come to find out, well, you didn't have any repairs and maintenance. Right? I mean, that's a huge line item. And then they'll say, well, I self-manage. Well, if we're trying to sell this, we have to assume the purchaser is not going to be a self-manager, right? And that's where you'll hear too, like, there's no management fees because the owner's been operating it by himself. We can keep going on with this stuff, but the importance of this training is to just understand the main line items and how to plug it into a simple spreadsheet. And we're going to use it. So once you pop in here, DealCheck, it's going to open this. This is just a fresh, so nothing's been done yet. You're going to add a property and we're going to do this manually. Okay. So we'll just say clean apartment underwriting. Okay. Okay, we refer to this as underwriting. This was on a recent closing that we had. So I'll just do 130 modifier. And it auto populates that. You get to pick, is it commercial land, multifamily in this case? This was in 1954. No garages, light size. If it is in the MLS, most of our deals will not be, so we don't have that. So now the rent roll, I did show you the trailing 12. So a rent roll will look like this, right? A rent roll is what a rent roll is. If you don't know what a rent roll is, it's all of the tenants that live at the property and the unit type. Okay, so a rent roll, you either just think all the rental income, how is that broke down? In this case, it was 2 different buildings, well, 3 different buildings, 15 units, and it had a mix of 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and efficiencies, right? So that's the unit mix right here. You'll see the tenant name, the lease start date, but the main information is, they're paying weekly here, right? So what is their gross per year? Okay, and that's what we want to know. And then the vacancies, we'll put that in, but for now, we'll just assume the gross rental. Okay, and depending on how fancy your spreadsheets are, this we'll do edit. Okay, we'll add, see rent roll. So we'll add a row right here. Right now, if you're looking at this rent roll, we'll count up. Like there's efficiencies. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so you put in 9 similar. This is residential efficiencies. Okay. Spell that one right. Efficiency. It's considered a studio. Okay. Square footage is approximately, let's say 4. These were very small. This used to be a motel, so we'll say 350. They were very small. The gross rent, see, this is doing it per month, but you can change it per day, per week. In this case, it is a per week. So this particular unit was getting on the efficiency $220. Okay, for 9 of them, and you can do individual. There might be different efficiency units, right? You might have 6 that are by ocean side, and then 3 that are in the back of the building getting less, right? But in this case, they were all $220 per week. We're going to add that, right? And then we're going to add the 1 bedrooms, which again, if you go back to the rent roll, count them up: 1, 2, 3, 4 1 bedrooms. There's 4 there. It's residential. 1 bed. And here 1 bath. Square footage. These were approximately 450 to 630. So we'll just split the difference, 550. And these weeklies were at 260, 250 to 260 on average. So we're going to do, let's just do 255. We'll split the difference per week. Don't forget to change this. This will completely screw up your underwriting. Okay. Then lastly, there's 1 more unit mix. So again, we're going to go back here. Look at the rent roll, 2 bedrooms. There's only 2 in this complex, around 800 square feet. So there's 2 similar units, residential. And 1.5 bath. And some of these approximately 730 square feet per week. They're charging $275. Okay. So there's our gross income. All right. This, even if some of these are vacant, you plug in all of the units. Okay. If there's 100 units and only 50 are full, you still put in all 100, right? We're going to go over the vacancy later. So now we're going to save this. And there's your units and rent roll. See? So here's the cash flow per month. And this is cool because if you don't have the pictures yet, this just gives you a snapshot, right, of the building and gives you somewhat of of an idea. There's maps, different stuff. So now what we got to go back to the worksheet. Okay. Let's just say that the seller wants 1.3 million. Okay. You can put that in there. Okay. Let's just say there's no financing. This is going to be a cash deal. Let's just for right now, we can go into a financing on a whole nother topic. Okay. Cause that's when the cash on cash metrics come in, and we're not going there today. We're going raw underwriting, profit, loss. That's it. So you might have purchase costs about 3 to 5% of the purchase price and closing costs. Again, lenders will charge more. Here's the gross rent per month. Okay, and we can cross-reference with the rent roll. Okay, so if you're looking at the gross total per year, if you can see this down here, I don't know if you can highlight it. There it is, 180, right? So if we're doing 180, highlights in the way. If we're doing 181, 480 divided by 12, that gives you 15,383. See, so that you're right. You can check the rent roll from the seller, because I've caught myself. Oops, I forgot that this is usually, you won't do it per weekly, right? It'll be a per monthly. Okay, if you're doing hotels, hospitality, you might do it per day, but just you'll catch yourself making errors when you cross-reference with the reality. So now let's go back. Here's the vacancy we were talking about earlier. Okay, right now this is 100% occupied. So I want to give it a better example, but let's just say a bank's going to look at 5%. Okay, let's just say, well, actually, you know what? This ended up having two vacancies. So let's just do this. There was 2 vacancies. So if you find out that percentage on a 15-unit building, you divide 2 units divided by 15. Okay. If you're doing it on a calculator, do that. Just do it. Take out your little cell phone. 2 divided by 15 gives you 13.333, right? So if you go 100, and this is very basic math, guys. I'm just pretending like you just came into the world without a math lesson. So it might be, you might think, well, okay, Jason, this is, very basic math, but you guys would be surprised. So 100% minus the 13. Okay, that's an 87% vacancy. Sometimes it will ask you for that number, but it asks here for the vacancy, so we're going to put 13%. That means 2 units are vacant. All right. The operating expenses, 50% is a ballpark for apartments, but we're not going to take the lazy way here. We're going to break this down. But let me show you guys. Let's see. If you're in the portal and you want to get a really fancy calculator, if you haven't already, this template here that we provide gives you an idea of, because you might say, well, he doesn't have the expense and you're trying to do a pro forma, right? Well, this will give you a guide on apartments. Again, this is apartments, so every asset class can be different, but here in Florida, if you want to do a ballpark tax reassessment, you're going to do 0.0. I'm going to make this bigger. You guys might not be able to see this at all. And if you don't, just understand, this is just a reference. So if you don't know, again, if he doesn't provide a detailed expense, you'll eventually be able to ballpark this stuff to get a general rule of thumb. 0.01% of the proposed sales price will give you the new reassessed value of, because some of these owners bought it in the 80s, and you might say, what? It was $1,000 for taxes? Well, it gets reassessed 10 times greater. And if you don't underwrite that for pro forma, your buyers aren't going to be happy if they don't know that, right? So insurance, 0.007 of the sales price. Trash removal, $200 per unit. And again, this is apartments. We have mobile home parks that, valet trash, 35 a unit. It's a different asset class, so it is going to change. This isn't across the board. Water and sewer, 400 a unit. Legal fees, 150 per unit. So management fees can be 5 to 10% of the gross income. That's a big one. Repairs and maintenance, that's another big one, 10%. So that's a good quick guide, just if you're shooting in the dark. But if you're trying to just do this as quick as possible, a good rule of thumb for apartment complexes is 50% of the expenses of the operating expenses. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, 100,000 gross income, expenses ballpark 50%. Now you have a net, right? An NOI, net operating income of 50%. That's what we're trying to achieve here, is the net operating. So we don't want to do the shortcut. So we're going to itemize the expenses, and here they are. For the most part, these are here. So if you go back to your profit and loss statement, you guys can see this. You might not even be able to see this, but here they are. And we'll just start plugging these in. All right. So just trust what I say is coming from the sheet. So property taxes, what he had is taxes on property. He paid at the end of the year is $11,995 and 29 cents. Okay, insurance, and this is per year. Again, you can make this per month, but I'm doing it per year. So the insurance he had was $75.26.84. So $7,000 for the year. Property management fee, he was doing 10%. But since he had a number on here, we'll just do what he ended up paying, which was 97. We'll change this. So you can hit edit and then just change the percentage of rent of a set amount, right? So we'll do per year. Change that. And then that ended up being 97,1990. And that was per building. There's 3 buildings, but remember, this is for the whole year. So maintenance, his repairs and maintenance were 19,000. See, and this was a percentage, but we're going to do what he did because it's the most accurate. Whoop, set amount. Here we go, per year. And that he had 19,789.56 per year. Okay. Capital expenditures, he didn't have any CapEx, which capital expenditures, what those are is, let's say they're more like one-time expenses, and not maybe one, like a CapEx could be painting the building. Apartments usually do that once every 5 years. Sometimes that's part of HOAs. You'll hear, paving. We do that when we take over a property. That's a one-time every 10 years or however many, so CapEx, think of that. That's not a reoccurring monthly. He didn't have any of those. HOA fees, we're not a condo. Utilities is a big one. Let's see, he had on his utilities 21,000. See it per month. Let's change that per year. 21,227.60. Okay, per year. And then landscaping, he's got 1,300. That's for the year. That's pretty light, but there wasn't a whole lot, I guess. To his defense per year, set amount, boom. So let's see what else. See, and you can add them. So see, he's got pest control, office supplies. So we're going to add some, right? We're going to add right here. You can put what else he had. Let's see what I just say. Legal, he counted as, what do we say here? Professional fees. Professional fees and license. I'll lump those two together and license. So he had per year, let's see, what was that? 488 plus 240. It was pretty light, so I'll lump those together. And then his bank charges were 142. But that adds up, right? So that's 872 total. Let's see what else was there. Business, okay, landscape management fees. Okay, office supplies, 572. No, don't leave any of this stuff out. I mean, just it all makes a difference. And you'll have some sophisticated buyers call you out big time, oh, why wasn't this in there? And then they think you're just, a sleazy broker that's just trying to pad the net operating income to get a higher fee, right? So don't be that guy or girl. So these are, what did I say that was? 572 was the office supplies. All right. And then, when you do a pro forma, what I like to do is when a seller gives me light books, meaning I know there's not everything. When I do the pro forma, I add those extra line items. So then when I show this package, there will be one column that shows current and then another column that shows pro forma that I underwrote, how I look at the deal. And then when you present that, you can show like, look, this is how the seller gave me, this is what they gave me. This is what they say they're doing it, but this is what I believe is missing and maybe not, right? Don't always just assume, and try to be a hero because you might not. I mean, there really could be truth to what they give you, right? But once you start underwriting properties, you start getting a understanding on, what's really going on. So, all right, so now we've underwritten the seat. Now it's starting to spit out an evaluation. It already has a 5.3 cap rate. So that is if there is, let's see, did we save this? Let's go back here. That was assuming the gross rent, right? The vacancy, he's got 100%. So that changes it big time too, right? Oh, what are you doing, Cindy? How do I get rid of this? Okay, so I'm done here. Okay, so if you go to compare properties, where is it? Oh, Jesus. Okay, here we go. There she is, gone. All right, let's see. So, but you know what? That's in line. Apartments on the beach is 6.7 cap. And again, that's what he wanted. Let me show you actually where this traded. Meaning it actually sold, not saying it wasn't worth more, but this building actually sold for 1.16. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. Purchase, so here's the report. So now when you go to reports and sharing down here, you include, here, if you want your own branding, all that, you can unlock the pro version. It's a few bucks a month. We use a little better packaging, but let's do complete report. Let's see what this looks like. We didn't do buy and hold projections, but again, this I wanted to make a very basic, seeing that cap rate is way better at that price, right? A 9.6 cap in apartments, you're not finding that. Cash on cash, see, because we didn't use financing, that stayed the same. But here it is. I mean, it shows the unit breakdown, 9 units, how much per week, gives you a little map, a little snapshot of what it is, 15 units, total square footage. And then here's the, if you put financing in here, and again, we're going to go over that in another training, but it'll give you the internal rate of return, cash on cash, everything. Just don't even worry about that right now. We'll get into that. So here's the gross rent, monthly, yearly, operating expense. See, 40%, that wasn't too far off. 40, you can say, well, he doesn't have a ton of repairs and maintenance. The utilities, also, if you bill those back, those are called RUBS, ratio utility billing system. That's additional income. And then here's all the expenses, right? So then when you send this deal out, you're obviously showing that, one, you know what you're doing, right? But more importantly, it's giving the investor or potential buyer a good snapshot and a realistic snapshot on what they're walking into, right? Cap rate, gives projection, cash flow charts, equity over time. There's some rent comparables, which is cool. In the area, it'll show what recently sold. These are condos maybe nearby. So, but there's rental listings. So see, what does a 2-bedroom go for? Well, 1350. Again, these might not be as comparable on the ocean, but a multifamily, 800 square foot, 1200. That's per month. So Obviously, if he's at 800 because he's getting 200 a week, there's some room for rent growth. So just it's a great underwriting tool that does the work for you just by plugging in what you can get from the seller, right? So I hope that was a little more broken down as far as just, I mean, really it's almost plug and play, but you again need to know what you're looking for, and again how you get this evaluation. So hope that was helpful. We're going to keep diving in here on different underwriting, but that was it for today.